Have we reached a point where many of us have to either prepare or plan for a backup country? Because I'm concerned that whether it's 3 or 7 years' time, in the next election, if we were to get Lebanonized or whatever, or at least how we might defend ourselves.
I really hope that doesn't happen to this country. I love Britain. I don't want to leave this country either. Not that I haven't thought about it, because I think about it regularly, actually, leaving Britain. But I love what this country has done for the world. And of course, there's many people who will say Britain's evil, Britain's colonized the world. I think part of what we did building empire, whilst it wasn't all great, there was lots of it that were great for the world. We exported, we built all over the world. We civilized many parts. We brought judicial systems to countries that didn't have them. We brought, places, even in India, we stopped, the women being burnt on the funeral pyres, for example. We did do some good things with what with our colonization of the world at the time. And besides that, the contributions of Britain to the world are just so, I could be here all day with a list, from science to literature to English to everything. And my concern is that not enough people are willing to fight for it. Have we already lost it? And that's the battle I have with myself. Is like, well, if enough of us just want to go, then we're admitting we've lost, and that Britain is no longer worth fighting for. And I think this country is worth fighting for. I believe everything we stand for is worth fighting for. And I think we're going through this difficult transition period after Brexit, where we thought we would get this back immediately. I actually think most people thought Brexit was going to be a magic spell, and that it would all happen after Brexit. And I was saying to everyone, it is not over by a long shot. This is when it's going to be hard, because there's going to be resistance. It's going to be a bit difficult to start off with. But we are actually, if we can do something in the next election that's quite magical and boot the left out on a big ticket, I think it will be probably 2 parties in power in the next election, one way or another. But if we can boot them out and have a patriotic government that actually loves Britain and is willing to do some radical things like Trump is doing in America, we could see a resurgence of Britain in the world. Because the EU is falling apart.
Yeah.
It is breaking at its seams, and they are our biggest adversaries, in my opinion. They want us to fail very desperately, and I want us to win. And I think we're on the verge of getting to a win. I actually think we're on the verge of our biggest win since Brexit. So 4 years' time, I think that will probably be a deciding year for many British people.
It's a scary one. And I agree with you. I think we need to, you and I, by just putting our faces out there, I was making this point to Alex Phillips just before. Yeah. We put our faces out there, put our names out there. Yeah. It is scary for us and all the families, and not just in terms of violent way. It's also, it prevents us from, we're not able to speak in certain circles. We're not able to go to speak in a bookshop or whatever it might be.
I will never be allowed back into the tech industry ever again. Ever again. It's done for me. It's done for me.
You took that risk. Yeah. And I get wound up because it's from probably quite extreme people, but it's anonymous Twitter people going like, oh, it's all right for you. You just want to jump ship, do you? It's like, hang on, we're the ones right now. You're an anonymous Twitter. And I say that and they go, well, if I put my name out there, I'd lose my job. And I'm like, well, that's the point.
That's exactly what, but this is what I mean. And I think they can't sack everyone.
Yeah, if everybody rose up at once.
This is it, right? And I encourage everybody, especially young people that I speak to at conferences and things like that. I say, you know what? If you all decided tomorrow, you know what? I'm done with this rubbish, and I'm going to speak out. You will very quickly find how many people around you feel the same way. But we have been dominated by the left-wing, global left-wing agenda, which is to suppress that thought. It's like the BLM black icons on everyone's Instagram page. Most people didn't really want to do it. They just felt pressured into it, and they just got bought into it. They didn't understand what they were doing it for. So more people that speak up, the better and easier this becomes. But there's people are very afraid, and they have a right to be. Let's be honest, they have a right to be, because the system is being used against them quite regularly.
I'm sick of, and I'm sure you felt this, and most people watching this have felt this feeling, going to sort of a party or like an old friend's birthday, and there's all the old friends there, and someone making a snarky remark of just like, oh, Andrew, you've become quite controversial. Far right.
That's what they call it. You've become far right, Alex.
Yeah. So I'd almost rather that, but they say like, you've become quite controversial, haven't you? Some of the things you've been saying, and it almost sounds like, if you had a German accent, you've become this is controversial.
Yeah, quite controversial. controversial.
That's not even very
We've got both got very
controversial,
bad
is it?
German accents there.
Yeah, I speak German. I should be able to do it.
Oh, terrible.
Was hast du gemacht? I can do it in German, but not in English. But they they go, and I'm like, well, not, I always held the views I held. It was just they were considered lefty back in the day, these kind of liberal views. And they go, you weren't that controversial though. And then they sort of walk off. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I was livid, but I couldn't. What are you going to do? Start an argument at a party? Actually, come back here.
Come back here. You're wrong, and I'll tell you why. But that person's mind is already made up. Right. Yeah. And again, that Big Brother moment with Michael Fabricant was really interesting, and it was one of the really interesting cultural moments for Britain, in my opinion, recently, because what he was saying, in my opinion, was completely fair. The first thing that Trisha responded to him with is, are you verging on Islamophobia? And he's like, did I say anything about Islam? Why can't you say something that's mildly right-wing, and particularly about Jews in this country, as soon as you say the word Jew, you're now a Nazi?
Yeah. What did it say about Trisha? Not just about her internalized potential anti-Semitism in that respect, but also her internalized, the made-up word of Islamophobia.
Define it. I asked them all, define it for me.
Well, but also I want to make the point though that the fact that he said people are not adapting, they're not doing, and she went to Islam.
Yep.
So what's going on in her head is probably the same as what's going on in our head.
Yeah, exactly.
She's making the same link.
Yeah. Well, of course, because that is unfortunately the reason why she said it, because she knows that's where it actually is going. And Michael would have been right to say, well, actually, you know what? There is an element of Islam in the country that is becoming very scary for British people, and even moderate Muslims are worried about it. I speak to them all the time. They are worried about radical Islamists in their country, and they bully other moderate Muslims. Frankly, it's a very, very powerful thing. But Trisha's immediate response to go to Islamophobia is the same tactic as used to being called a racist. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're just a racist. I'm the exact opposite of that. I believe in individual accountability. I don't care about your skin color. I care about your love for this country and your cultural assimilation into Britain. That's the one thing I do care about. But I don't care. You could be a white person and not assimilate. I find it frustrating when I get people from America that come and move over here and are just Americans. They don't embrace anything about Britain. They just complain about it. I'm like, go back to America, mate.
You hate America.
No, I love them. I've got loads of American friends that hate me if they see this. Yeah. But I'm like, go back to America then if you don't like it here. No, stop complaining. Be here because you want to be here. Don't come here and then slag it off. Right? Yeah. I wouldn't do that. Sure, I went and spent lots of time in America. I would never dream of slagging their country off to them.